Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Dear White People Season 1, Episode 7. It's called Chapter 7. I did that last week. I had to think about the title, because I don't check it, because I know it's just chapter and the number,
But
but
then you freak yourself out because you didn't
yeah,
check.
I worry that I've not checked for a split second and then go, oh no, it's just Chapter 7, it's fine. But yeah, so full spoilers for the episode as always. So we got a new character. We got well, not a new character, but the focus was on a character we've not had a focus episode on before. We
Yeah, I
had
was confused what you're on about for a
yeah,
second then.
we had Gabe had the focus here, and it spun out nicely at the end of last episode where he's on the other end of the phone call trying to call Sam. Although interestingly, the plot was still very much moving forward. That little bit overlapped, but then from there we were still very much sequential from everything that
Yeah,
happened last
which
time.
is maybe not quite what we expect from this show anymore.
Nah, it's kind of new actually for the show. I'm so used to it being kind of like different sides at the same time and like jumping
Yeah.
around and all these things. But so I really enjoyed the opening narration of this one actually because it was it's all the narration about how he feels being the one white guy, typically surrounded by this black group of friends, and it's like how sometimes like he's aware of the sort of the landmines that he has to avoid with when he's talking and the things he can't say and all that. And it turns into kind of like how him and Sam started to go out. They talked about film at the radio station and all that stuff, and then it ended with with narrator. I keep like calling him Gus because it's Gus from Breaking Bad, but it ends with him saying, but he does this because he has the one thing he loves more than I think it was Godard who was talking about the filmmaker. But whatever the last thing he was saying was the one thing he loves more than that is Sam, and it cuts back to him standing there with the phone, and it's just this big wide shot, and it's empty, and he's alone, and we of course know how the last one ended.
Yeah.
We're like, oh geez, like we have an idea of what might be going on right now, and we feel particularly bad for him. So, a lot of the episode is him being worried that something's going on. In fact, there's a lot of funny stuff in this episode. Him
There is.
imagining, him having these quick flashes of what the possible Sam and Reggie love scene might have been.
Oh, and they get more outlandish and ridiculous as it goes on.
Yeah, they start to reference movies as they go on.
Yeah.
But they start just this ridiculous like it was the ice around the nipples, and then not even just the fact that the ice went right around Reggie's nipples. It was like that was the left one. Now we'll do the right. She even says that. She even says now I'm
Yeah.
going to do the right one. Need to make it even. Very very silly. But he keeps noticing all these little things, like they're sitting close together, and Sam's smelling at what he's saying, and he's a little bit concerned to say the least. And him and Joelle end up having this little bonding moment because they get sent out, and you know exactly as soon as they start pairing everyone up because they're going to try and protest this town meeting that they've set up to talk about the race issues, about the incident with the cop, and obviously Sam's like, that's not enough. That's the same old shit that everyone always does, and it's just nothing gets done. So they all agree that they need to do something else. They want to protest. They want to make it a bigger deal. They want to get other groups involved who might be interested in sort of changing the status quo. And so she gives everyone jobs and like, okay, we'll all split into pairs. And you know right away, okay, she's going to end up with Reggie, and Gabe's going to get
Yeah.
partied off with someone else just to make him feel even more like shit. And he ends up with Joelle. And I love how both of them don't sound. Neither of them sound excited. They're like, "Oh, can't wait! Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
great. Yeah, let's go." But the funny thing is I actually think they two make quite a good duo. They were really cracking me up as they were walking around and campaigning
It's
with the
fun.
with the various sort of representatives from all the different groups. My and I didn't expect this was going to be a sort of a setup and punchline. I thought on its own it was funny enough that she gets like a sort of oh don't be racist kind of response from like the Asian girl because they set up a bowling for Columbine screening. She's like, what the hell's that got to do with being Asian? It's like, what, I'm only meant to watch Rashomon, and she lists off some Asian stuff, and nothing wrong with watching Kurosawa. It should be part of anyone's filming lexicon. Thank you
I
very
agree.
much. But she's like, oh, it's the only way to watch Japanese movies and shit, and it sort of cuts there, and it's kind of funny, right? It's funny on its own, but then they're talking to the head of the LBGT group,
Yes.
LGBT. I got that the wrong way around. But anyway, that group, right? And there's some fun stuff as well. Because she's making fun of the girl who runs the Asian society, and she's like, ah, no, but well, if her boyfriend knew where she actually was when she said she was going to the library, and it was just a whole lot of expressions were really funny. But it was the whole thing where she's also like in amongst all that, she also mentioned that they've got their own separate screening of Bowling for Columbine, and that was funny. But Joelle, like Gabe's dragging Joelle away. She's like, "No, I've got a million questions to ask," and I'm like, "So do I. Why is everyone watching Bowling for Columbine?"
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, okay, I guess the cop pulled a gun, so maybe
It's relevant.
yeah, it's about gun control and stuff. Okay, sure, I can maybe see the connection, but still,
It was
it's funny.
amusing all the same. Like you say, the first time was funny enough, but you weren't expecting it to be a setup.
It's especially yeah, because she says, "Oh, we've got a screening for Bowling for Columbine," and Joel says, "Oh no, that's been cancelled because obviously the
No,
other
yeah,
girl
we,
said
we
yeah."
spoke to her. It's fine. They're moving
Yeah,
it.
it's like, no, we have our own separate screen for Bowling for Columbine.
And then she was like, "Yeah, the other girl stole the idea from them."
Yeah, I want more of this rivalry.
Yeah,
I
it was
want more
pretty
of
fun.
it. But it ends up in this bonding moment for the two of them because in between all this, like Gabe's like sort of like basically prodding Joelle for information. He's like, "Hey, was Sam ever mentioned this? What's Sam doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm not Sam's keeper. I don't know where she is all the time." And it eventually starts asking what her type is because the guy from the I don't know what society it was actually. Now I'm thinking about it.
I can't remember.
There
There
was,
was a
he was-
lot of there was a lot of different societies in quick succession.
Yeah, he said it quick, whatever it was, but he basically tried to flirt with her. Like he's like, "Oh, we can't. We've already committed to the town hall, but I'll follow you anywhere," kind of thing. And that gets Gabe asking, "Oh, what is your type and all that?" And she basically describes Reggie, like specifically, like everything about him to a T.
Yes.
She's like, "Oh, I want him to be really black and not ashamed that he's black, and I want him to be kind of serious, but not be upset when you make fun of him for being." She just basically describes Reggie like to a fault. The Gabe just gets it. He's like, "Oh, you like Reggie? Why has that never happened?" And she's like, It's like, "Oh, and they're both sitting there, kind of united in pain because they're both kind of the hardened parties from this potential romance that might be blooming with Sam and Reggie. And that was nice, but that's when he actually reveals something that I did not see coming because we were convinced. In fact, last episode we said we'd had confirmation, and we said, "Oh, yep, we called that. We patted ourselves on the back."
Yep. I'm sure there was some people watching that who'd obviously watched the whole thing
Yeah.
by now and were like, "You idiots."
Yeah, so it turns out Gabe called the police, and I really thought it was Lionel. And I really want to know what Lionel's
Look.
reaction last week was about then.
I'm just saying, he could still have called them as well.
Yeah,
He wouldn't have known that Gabe would phone them.
true. I was thinking that as well. I was thinking that they both did, and it was like a multiple persons sort of thing. However, the fact that Lionel dug up the recording of the phone call later kind of feels like that's not the case. It's still possible, theoretically, yes, because obviously Lionel would maybe ignore his and just put out that
Well,
one.
that's it. Maybe he was looking for his one, and he was willing to like incriminate himself as the one who called them, but because his whole thing was he wanted to show that they overreacted, and
Maybe.
he'll know what he said.
Maybe. I'm not willing to say that I strongly believe that has to be the case, though. I think it just implies to me that that's at least like if they do that, then fine. Yeah, it's the possibilities there. The reason that he looked worried before would be there for it. But right now, I'm just kind of feeling like, nah, it's probably. And if he did also call the police, maybe he'll feel bad of how Gabe's being treated, and he'll maybe speak up at some point and
Yeah.
kind of sort of
Well, I
share
mean,
the.
we do get that a little bit, at the end. He was like, that wasn't really what the story was about when they were all kind of ganging up on.
True. I mean, I never read that as him like trying to like stick up for Gabe. It was more like I felt like he was actually just annoyed that they were missing the point of his article because
It
he's done that
probably was,
before.
but
Yeah.
you never know, do you?
And Joelle, interesting from Joelle, like she reacts a little bit at first, but mostly she's like, "You can't tell Sam. You can't like." She doesn't even blow up. She doesn't get angry at him. She's just, "No, you cannot tell Sam. Like this is bad. If Sam finds out, this is bad." And obviously, I wasn't expecting that to happen by the end of the episode necessarily. I thought it might simmer a little bit, and come out later. But
The longer it takes, the worse it is.
exactly. So maybe they should have let it simmer a little bit. I don't know. But then again, I have no idea what they're planning for the next 3 episodes, so that's
Right.
fair enough. But yeah, so eventually he goes and hunts down Sam. Oh no, sorry, they did that earlier. Him and Sam have got a date. They've got a group date with his douchey friends that we met last episode. And they're cracking jokes about her cheap wine that she brought in a pleasant enough way. And and they start talking about podcasts and movies and stuff, and it's all
Very, very good podcast. Can recommend it.
I have never heard it myself, but I've heard Matt talk about it, so I got the reference when they mentioned it. I was like, oh, I know what that is because I've heard Matt go on about it.
Well worth checking out.
So that's all fine, and then eventually, like, they have this little bit of a tiff in the middle of it where they're arguing about who are the celebrities they're arguing about?
Oh God,
The old film stars.
Oh, I can't remember now.
That doesn't matter, but it's basically the argument's boiling down to like, oh, you sympathise with an adulterer. Basically, was the gist of it, and they end up having the fight afterwards, and he's proclaiming how he feels, why he feels the way he does, and how she basically puts it like you basically act like a guy where you don't care about me half the time, but you're obsessed like the other half of the time. It's weird, and to his surprise, she just says, "You're right." To the point where he even continues on with the like, this is why. Wait, what? You said what? I don't know what to say now. I thought you were going to resist.
Yeah, so you've ruined it. My argument's gone.
Yeah, my whole thing was mapped out. I was on a path in anger, and now I can't do that anymore. And it basically all boils down to eventually he just blurts out that he loves her. How strong he feels. And I was actually kind of surprised because I thought, because the whole episode it was really playing with her, because we didn't see anything happen with Reggie, but certainly it was implied that it might have been about to happen. And I think that's maybe why this episode's so effective, is in terms of like his suspicion of what's going on, is because we've seen enough to know that it's not completely bullshit. We've seen enough to think that it's plausible that something did happen. It's not just paranoia.
Right, but we don't know if it did or not for sure. It's why like his imagination scenes are like really interesting in that sense, because we don't know. We didn't see anything. We've just got imaginations as well, essentially, as to whether or not it did or didn't happen. And
I think this is something the show's done really well all season. Is every episode that's focused on a person, it really feels like it puts you in the head of that person. It makes you feel like you're on par with them and what information they have and what they know and how they're feeling in the situation. And I think this did that as well. I mean, it's kind of weird that this. Just as a white person watch this, it's one about a white guy. This is kind of weird. Like I'm so used to this being about looking at different viewpoints as opposed to someone who theoretically represents me. Although Gabe's a bit of a douche, but and I'm not a douche. I'm fantastic. I'm better than him, anyway.
Maybe. I'm not arguing as hard on that one.
So you get to this point, but she actually says it back, and it's like, oh, maybe something didn't happen. Maybe maybe there was temptation. Maybe like she got close to it. Clearly, we already saw her be kind of close to it. But maybe it didn't. Maybe she is committed to Gabe, and they end up, it cuts to them like lying in the radio booth, and they're not the booth, but like outside where all the records are, and they're sitting there or they're lying there, and they're just basically having a lot of love banter. It's like, oh, what we're going to be like as a couple? We can do this. We can do that. And it's kind of fun, it's kind of heartwarming, and in my head I'm thinking, this thing's going to come up. This is going to ruin it. Now, they're too happy now. This is why it has to come up now, because they're too happy. And all of it's fun. And it's kind of like they're even joking about, saying the word, and how she can say it and he can't. And she's laughing about it, and she's like, you can't say it back. And she's teasing him for it. And it's kind of like, I mean, it's a serious topic, but like any serious topic, when there's two friendly adults in the room, they can talk about anything in any way, as long as both parties are equal in understanding of, what the joke is and what they're doing with it. But, they wake up, and she wakes up, he's already staring at her, which is... it's romantic, creepy when you're not one of the two people.
Yeah.
Like you stay at your partner sleeping is actually quite a normal thing, but when you're just observing it happen,
That's a good point.
It feels a bit creepy. That's all I'm saying. But it's all very sweet. But she gets the message on her phone that Lionel's got the 911 call, and you kind of like your heart sinks a little bit. And part of me thought they were going to swerve us, and it was going to be like someone else. Like the idea that there was multiple calls. And
what I was still wondering was like, has he put his call on?
Yeah. But sure enough, we hear the call, we hear the voice, and I felt really bad for a second because I'm like, Gabe, you idiot, because he tries to pretend for it's like, oh, that could be anyone.
Yeah.
Gabe, shut up! You're making it worse. Stop it. You really make
this
it
piled
worse.
on to the fact where he's just tried to get it to know. It's like, let's go get breakfast. Yeah, I think it's breakfast. It's already gone 8. We really need breakfast.
Ah, dear. So of course she gets upset and she storms off, and basically we see everything from this point on. And I'm sure we're going to get some of the other sides of this in the next one. I feel like this will be some of the overlap and stuff where we see what Sam goes through during this like sort of shutting out period. But he keeps phoning her, keeps texting her, doesn't get a response. Goes round to her room. She's not there. So he eventually goes to the
meeting,
the meeting hall or whatever it is they call it, and he walks in, and I was like, wait a minute, everyone knows about this now. And sure enough, every single person stopped talking and just turned around and looked at him. And I'm like, oh dear. And I kind of like, at this point, I was kind of, I got what the metaphor, well, not the metaphor, but what this episode was kind of about. At least the way I read it, it was kind of about that kind of weird fear that you have of like stepping on the wrong thing. Like at the start of the episode when he's talking about dodging the landmines, it's that this is like the worst possible thing that could, like, this is like it turned up to 50. This is not just saying something that's slightly stupid in the middle of a conversation that can be taken the wrong way, or something that maybe didn't think about and does come out sounding kind of insensitive or racist, and you may not mean it, but you're scared of like stumbling onto it kind of thing. And this is like that turned up to 50, where he's done something where his intentions weren't bad.
No, of course not.
Right? His intentions somewhat make sense, but it did not go well. And now he's literally staring at a room full of black people staring at him and being angry at him. It's kind of
you've got to feel bad for him, haven't you?
You do kind of feel bad for him because he screwed up. Like,
and that's it. We heard the call. And like Lionel even said, they overreacted. There was nothing in it that that called for it.
Well, that's the whole point. Like, even when Sam gets the message, she says, "Oh, this is proof that the cops overreacted because the call did not indicate any kind of bigger problem. It was just things are getting a bit rough coming in."
Yeah, which is, I assume, happens relatively often.
Yeah. Yeah, college parties.
That's why you have campus police in the first place, presumably.
Yeah, this should be relatively by the book in terms of what goes on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that was the point of the call. But at the same time, I can't necessarily look at everyone else in the room and say, "Oh, you're being too hard on him," necessarily, because he did keep it a secret. Like, he had a chance multiple times to admit, "Look, guys, I'm sorry, I made that call. I thought things were getting out of hand." He should not have lied about it. He should not have kept quiet. At the same time, though, I understand why he did keep quiet. Like, I get why he was scared to reveal that information.
It. I mean, we saw, I think, last episode they were like, "Oh, if we find, whoever did it."
Yeah, because that was the moment that cut to Lionel, and he looked nervous, and we thought, "Yeah, it was Lionel. It was him."
Yeah, and that's it. Is it worse that it's Gabe than Lionel to them? The fact that if it had been Lionel, would they have forgiven him more than Gabe? Do you think?
I don't think so.
No?
I think it would play out differently. Don't get me wrong. I think there'd be a different reaction to it. Because I think Gabe already being something of an outsider makes it really easy to sort of treat him like an outsider.
That's it, yeah.
But I think it may even... It wouldn't be necessarily worse, per se, depending on how you look at it. But I think if Lionel did it, it would be this weird...
More of a betrayal. Almost.
Yeah, betrayal feels like a weird word to use, but kind of in that ballpark, where it'd feel like, one of their own is done something that's led to this. And again with Reggie, like, I get why Reggie's like pissed as he looks at him. Like of course he is. Like, this is
it's happened to him.
He had that traumatic experience, and it was him that initiated those events. I mean, he didn't mean to. He didn't set out to do that. I think at one point he even says he didn't even know the campus security carried guns.
None of them did, because they were all shocked when they found out they had guns.
Yeah, so it's a really... I think what the episode does a really good job of is it lets you understand his thought process, and much like we've been saying about a lot of these episodes, it's fully fleshing out the people so they feel like well-rounded individuals, characters with positives and negatives, flaws and whatnot. But when they do screw up, and you understand why they screwed up, but you completely understand that what they did was wrong and why everyone else is pissed at them. And I think that does a good job here. And I think, like I say, this episode is really about when again, it's like the heightened version of crossing a line that you didn't mean to cross, and probably was accidental, but how do you deal with that afterwards? And it may be interesting to see how they do deal with this in a long term way. Like what happens next episode. I imagine next episode we might not see a lot of Gabe. Like we might see him like in one scene in the background.
That's
or something.
it. I'm assuming next we'll go back to one of the other characters or even a group, and then Gabe will be gone for a bit.
Yeah. Until whenever he comes back into the story in whatever way, maybe at this town hall. If I'm going to guess something, I think the town hall meeting will be the finale.
Seems a reasonable guess.
Just given the way it overlaps things and the way that we do all these kind of, I feel like that's just the kind of pacing I can expect.
Yeah, and they did say that was like a few weeks away or whatever it was. They'd set a date, but it wasn't like tomorrow sort of thing. So there's time to build to that still, even if it doesn't do a lot of overlapping now.
And besides, we have 3 episodes left, so we're right in the kind of time frame for it. So, no, but it was kind of like how I think it did a really good job of like his fear of doing the wrong thing, and then realizing he may have already done the wrong thing, and then it coming out that he's done the wrong thing, and I think that's why the ending with him just staring at everyone and going, "Oh shit," is such a good moment, because it's kind of like that little sort of semi-dream sequence at the start when when the narrator's saying, "Oh, sometimes he wants to just scream," and he stands up and just yells, "Oh, just because I'm white doesn't make me an asshole," and he stands up and shouts that. It's almost like he's just actually done that, and he's went, "Oh shit, I just did that." That's kind of what the ending almost feels like.
Kind of. And then there's that really rough moment for him as well when Reggie puts his hand on Sam's shoulder.
Yeah. Which is a personal little touch from Reggie. That's
right.
definitely...
That felt intentional, didn't it?
That feel intentional.
He was like,
yes.
"Nah, screw you, Dick," and then puts his hand on her just to show him.
I don't blame him for it. It's definitely an intentional little... Yeah, feel worse dickhead. It definitely feels like that kind of moment. But at the same time, the show's done such a good job of setting up everyone's motivations, what everyone's sort of beliefs and ideas are, and because they all feel like real people, you don't. I don't think this episode villainizes.
No,
Gabe.
it's like in that moment there, I get why Reggie did that from his perspective, but at the same time, I feel bad for Gabe.
But I think I'm curious to see how we follow this up in the coming episodes. So. No. And I'm curious if we'll get any more character episodes that we've not had yet. Because Gabe obviously was a new one. We thought we might cycle through the same 5 again.
Yeah.
I can see a couple of repeats, but I'm just wondering if there's another person that I'm not thinking of. Maybe Joelle? She may get one.
Could be her, yeah.
I can see Joelle getting one. I'd like Rashid to get one. But...
That reminds me. Rashid had the funniest moment of the episode again. When they were, he said Pinocchio was his favorite film.
Oh yeah, and the other guy like made fun of him and did the
right, and he goes, he just hits backwards and like, yeah, well, my ancestors were smart enough not to get captured or something.
Yeah, that was good back and forth.
But the way he just kind of blurted it out, and he's so blunt with it, it's just it cracked me up.
But yeah, so there you go. This is episode 7 of Dear White People. So we will be back with episode 8 probably next week at this point. I feel like I'm not going to promise anything quicker. Although we might sneak in quicker. I don't know. But we're still working through Comrade Detective over this week, so it seems unlikely. But no, show's still very good. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's really playing a lot of really good games with its characters and the way it's building them and playing them off of each other. And because one of the things I liked about that final moment, actually, when Reggie does put his hand on Sam, it's not just Gabe that reacts. We see a shot of Joelle also. Like she's on that side of the room, but she still feels a lot pissed about that little moment.
Right, she's torn on that.
Yeah, so again, it's fully fleshed characters who all have more than one motivation. Which I think is ultimately the point of the show, really, when you think about it, is all these people, yes, they all don't want you to be racist, but that's not their only goal in life.
You can't boil them down to just one thing.
Yes, they all have different ideas and feelings and emotions and life goals and whatever else. So that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV and stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv if you want to support the channel. But otherwise, guys, that is us. So thank you once again for watching, and we will see you next time.